Hello, and welcome into Full Screen Podcast. I'm your host, Kira Aster, and joining me today, adding a new category, tennis, sexy, threesomes, to our list of favorite rom-coms, it's Raven Ebert. How are you, Raven?
I'm good. Cinema Score has polled audiences and received a score of B+ for challengers. So I don't know where the B+ comes from. Was it like not enough threesomes? Not enough tennis?
More house music? You know?
I mean, I think it's set with the house music. We have the industrial sense of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross like pulsing through.
Did you see the there was a AFI celebration of Nicole Kidman?
Yes, but with Morgan Freeman. Honestly, that AMC ad has transcended culture. Like, it's become such a cultural touchstone. I think that the sincerity of Nicole Kidman's delivery, the side bun and the suit, it's just been a treasure to see people react and love it so much.
At a very tricky time in the world, you know, especially after pandemic, those ads have taken on a new meaning, and Morgan Freeman also knows that. So in the AFI celebration of Nicole Kidman's lifetime, it was a Nicole Kidman Lifetime Achievement event, Morgan Freeman did a spoof of the ad, and he ended with, because she is Nicole Kidman, she makes movies better. It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely, and Nicole Kidman continues to be amazing.
I have remembered that Nicole Kidman has been in a lot of bad stuff, but never bad in it. She's never the weak part of a movie. And I really have to respect that, because there's not a lot of people that can say that with a career as long and storied as hers. Like, she's done a variety of things, and I really do feel like, yeah, she makes things better by being in them. She's never
That's
the
such a high compliment. Like, you can't control like a giant creative project, but you can control how you are in it. And she's always very transformative, transcendent, looks better and better, you know?
I'm always watching Practical Magic, and I was just transfixed by Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, and they're both like very, very effervescent and charming and just like at the top of their game in that movie. And then let's put it up for Nicole.
Before we get into today's topic, let's recap quickly our social medias.
I mean, if you follow us on our social media right now, it is just an embarrassing list of Challenger memes and Dune memes. I apologize. The content is very, very moist, and it'll moderate itself once time goes by. But please feel free to follow us on both Twitter and Instagram at fullscreen_pod. You can also check out our YouTube channel where we upload our episodes at Full Screen Podcast. Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment on our videos. Send us your video ideas at fullyscreened@gmail.com.
Today's episode is a short one. We're talking metrics minutes. So we've been wanting to do this for a little bit. We're doing it in the 4th month of the year, but this is...
Well, we're doing it in tax season, the most important month of the year. Let's not forget that these are corporations that we're talking about, baby. And we're going to be talking about what they actually made and what they reported to the IRS.
It's honestly true. This is the time that they just announced the bonuses for the CEOs of these companies. So actually a suitable time. So we're talking movie studios in 2023 by the numbers, the big winners, the big losers, how everyone fared, you know. And then
we're gonna talk about some tax fraud as well. Let's get into that.
There's one name that emerges, and then maybe do a little light 2024 box office predictions, because so excited, you know. We're back, baby. We're back. let's start with the big winners of 2023. All right, so let's get to winners. There weren't many, so I'm gonna go quickly. I think the big name that emerged from the end of last year, Taylor Swift, Eras movie. We can definitely say she was a winner of 2023. You could not go anywhere without hearing her name, hearing about her tour, hearing about her upcoming movie, and
no production company associated with it, right? It was
she
all
made
her.
It for this. She made her own movie with like a little cat logo, her own cat logo, Taylor Swift Productions, because she bypassed, like, you know, she was respectful of the strike rules, bypassed all the studio systems, and went directly to AMC theaters. Very respected by SAG-AFTRA, very respected by the WGA. I think she proved herself again as an artist, as a businesswoman, and the movie, you know, did good numbers. I think more than the box office. Really, it was like the cultural like cachet and shift where people who had been to Eras tour 2 or 3 times went to the movies like 4 or 5 times. You know, they could not get enough.
I don't know if we'll see the same hunger for this kind of thing now that the strikes have been resolved and people are going to cinemas again. So it may have just been a striking while the iron is hot kind of thing.
Yeah, could be. We'll see. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing something like this for Cowboy Carter when the tour starts. That would be revolutionary. So this made $261 million at the box office, and I think the biggest thing that Disney, I would say like secondary win here, is also Disney. Disney got exclusive rights to the Eras Tour movie, and everyone flocked to really, you know, resubscribe after unsubscribing from Disney. So big win. I will end talking about Taylor Swift here by just saying it's April 2024, and oh, how the mighty have fallen. The poets are tortured, you know?
Yeah, spoiler alert. It's not about the guy from The Favorite. It's about the guy from the 1975. So I think it's a win for Taylor Swift that she sold her movie to Disney. I don't think it's Disney's win. Yeah. Necessarily. Correct.
I would agree there. I would say again, another winner, big winner, Universal, in a massive, I would say, reestablishment of their power within the industry. You know, we hadn't been hearing of, like, they're a big 5 studio, of course, but we hadn't been hearing of this name. But with Oppenheimer and Fast X and Super Mario, like, these 3, I believe, are in the top 5 of the billions, like the highest box office grossing of the last year. And that's incredible for one studio to reach those numbers. And I think with Universal, when we talk about Universal, we have to talk about this guru, this like amazing person that has been behind so many big projects. I would say has stayed out of controversy for the most part in her illustrious long career. Donna Langley, the chief content officer at Universal. She made Oppenheimer. She got to Christopher Nolan after his breakup with Warner Brothers. Like that right there.
The Matty Healy to Chris Nolan's Taylor Swift.
It's true. Match made in heaven, you know, for 2 months. But I think Donna Langley will continue to really court Christopher Nolan as he makes future movies. They treated him really well. She's been at all the events with Oppenheimer crew. Like, she's in pictures. She's there at, like, you know, if not the main table, the secondary table to the side, supporting them. Very Bela Bajaria, you know, Bela Bajaria in her bindis and saris, promoting her Netflix crew.
As long as she keeps putting Christopher Nolan stuff out in theaters and not sending it to streaming, we're good.
Raven, the next winner might hurt you. It hurt me, but I have to say.
I'm gonna keep my middle finger up the entire time you're speaking. So
unfortunately, the next winner is David Zaslav.
Isn't it despicable that an individual comes out as a winner? Because, you know, I won't get into it now, but the corporation he represents did not win.
He is the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, and
my sleep paralysis demon.
It's not good, guys. Whatever he's done, it's not good. But I just mentioned, right, like it's all the pays of CEOs are coming out of the last year, like tax season. We're now seeing how these companies performed. the company itself, Warner Brothers, had a loss of $3 billion last year, but this guy got a payday over $50 million, combining his like base and bonuses or whatever. $50 million! I believe Bob Iger got around, like, got the lowest, got a, like 20 million or so, which, you know, saying lowest and 20 million is disturbing. The company has cited a 14% drop in ad revenue for its TV channels, as well as decline in ratings. So CNN, TNT, Discovery, Food Network, HGTV, like, you know, what is it called now?
That's
HBO
right.
Max?
No, it's called Max, and you know the economy's in trouble when people are not watching the Food Network and HGTV.
It's true.
Like, that's how you know the floor is dropping out below you.
It's rough out here.
Yeah, you can't sell ads on the Food Network and you're still like, Daddy deserves a little bonus as a treat.
Someone's working overtime on his team, really. And then I will end by saying the winners of last year, us. Guys, we got Barbenheimer. We got the event of, like, I don't know, a decade. And, you know, as unstable as the industry was, as unstable as the box office was, I would say it's a win for us that we everyday people, non-industry people, were talking about what it means for writers and actors to have equal rights and like deserve more, you know, and we learned about labor rights and people were curious and people learned, and I think also it but maybe it fed into this education that was happening in other industries of like, yeah, we deserve more too. So I think we'll definitely see impact of that.
A bigger conversation about labor rights is always good. We also got a lot of like really good movies. I want to say 2023 was pretty solid in terms of what was put out there.
For what it was. Hit us with the losers.
You know, that's the prison yard rule, like, you know, find the biggest and push them over. And I think, again, I really want to come back to Disney because I looked at the box office for 2023. Avatar 2 made more money in 2023 than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
All together.
Combined.
Amazing.
When I say that Jim should, and I say
Big Jim.
He's James Cameron is who I'm referring to.
Big Jim.
Yeah, when Big Jim should have an ego the size of Texas, and he doesn't. He has an ego the size of like Missouri. He can be entitled to it with these kind of results. Like, this is kind of embarrassing. I think the biggest egg on Disney's face, though, was how badly the movie Wish flopped at the box office and critically. Like, it was supposed to be this big celebration for the centennial of Disney animation. And animation is what Disney is known for. That's its flagship.
So wait, so Wish, you said Indiana Jones, Quantumania. What was the fourth one?
Were you talking about a massive fourth flop?
Yeah.
The Hercule Poirot outing of A Haunting in Venice did not do well at the box office, despite having the white hot power of Michelle Yeoh being attached to it. But again, I think Kenneth Branagh had been disappointing us from an Hercule Poirot standpoint. Yeah. I think he was turning off fans of the original books and was not making compelling enough movies for people to go see.
It wasn't that bad. Yeah,
it was okay. It could have made enough to break even, but I think again, just like the spooky vibes were. It was fun when it was spooky because it's a period piece and things look better when they're in the video. Like, it's not the same kind of goofy Conjuring style effects. Like, sorry, James Wan, I love Malignant, but
there is a Malignant meme, by the way, with Annabelle Wallis and one of her friends from the movie, and then it's just the two of them, but it says 3 tickets for challengers.
Well, obviously she's got a third Again, one of the other big villains, or I would say like I'm comfortable calling them a villain again, was Warner Brothers Discovery. They continued with their spate of shelving movies. The whole Coyote versus Acme disaster it was such a disrespectful display of contempt for creators, and I think the only profits that they saw were from tax loopholes, because the DCEU, one of their main money making flagships, they were they electrocuted in the bathtub with a toaster. They had The Flash and Aquaman 2 both do disastrous results. I think Aquaman 2 did not get a critical beating. People were just like, I don't care. But The Flash was also just like, it was so embarrassing to see Warner Brothers hold on to releasing this movie with the protagonist being played by a convicted criminal of like really horrific crimes too. And it was just so frustrating to continuously see this being platformed, and then they're like, oh, Coyote versus Acme, we're gonna make more money if we just write it off as a loss. So
that I will also say Max didn't do well either. They were removing content throughout 2023.
Yeah, which is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, and it was just painful to see the content being diluted. I go to Max every couple of months to watch Sharp Objects to remind myself that Amy Adams is good, actually. And I just keep seeing more and more Discovery content being promoted and less Sopranos. So Paramount also suffered a lot because people forgot to watch that Mission Impossible movie.
Stole the IMAX screens. Chris Nolan got in there and took the IMAX screens from Tom Cruise.
That didn't work out. While I really enjoyed that Dungeons and Dragons movie, people didn't connect with it. It was a lot of fun, but I think Stranger Things may have oversaturated the D&D brand and people just got annoyed. The final fumble is how badly Paramount has mishandled everything behind the scenes of the Scream franchise, one of the most reliable horror franchises that we had out there, with like a renewed interest and people getting into the lore of it again. And I see that Kira has put in a sad, sweet little note that said, we lost because of the password crackdown.
Yeah, so not the box office studio.
Love is sharing a password. No, it's not. Love is a lie.
Guys, Netflix throughout like 2017, 2016, even 2018 was just like tweeting up a storm, just being like, love is sharing a password. And then now like that tweet has resurfaced and people are like, look what money make a bitch do. I think like Hulu and Disney have announced that they're gonna likely pursue the password crackdown. The ad tier has come with like a force. These bundlings are happening where, you know, I'm just like, can we maybe go back to cable? It's rough. So we also lost here among these three shitty loser studios. Let's move on to 2024 box office predictions. What do we think is going to happen in 2024? So, right now, I think Race for the Billion, again, it's not even halfway through the year, and we have some really big properties coming out. Deadpool, Wolverine, Nosferatu, Inside Out 2, which is predicted to be really big. We'll see. I'm skeptical. But right now, I think it's gonna be between Dune 2 and Godzilla X Kong. Or Godzilla Kong, however you say it. They're both. Dune 2 is almost at $1 billion, I believe, as of today. It's around 750 something. Godzilla trailing it, you know, really closely. So we'll see. I think It'll be interesting to see how Deadpool performs. There's a lot of loss of trust in Disney and Marvel, so
I was just gonna say it's a lot of threesomes at the box office with Dune 2, Godzilla X Kong as well. Challengers is coming up. Everyone loves that Challengers is written by the husband of the woman that made Past Lives. So it's just like, what a double feature. Just
their marriage is spicy. Who's the hot third in their marriage?
Me. Invite me over, guys. I would love to. You're right. I don't know if Nosferatu is gonna go shooting to the top of the box office. I know you and I will be gooning and baiting at the cinemas for that.
Our boy's back.
Robert Eggers is not a moneymaker. In fact, like, The Northman actually lost money, even though it was critically acclaimed. So it's not.
Guys, they were naked men fighting in that movie by like a lava volcano situation.
America is uncultured. What can I say? But
wake up.
Kung Fu Panda is out there. I mean, it's already blessed us with a Tenacious D cover of Baby One More Time.
Yes,
and honestly,
very good cover. Yeah, so I would say it's going to be, in my opinion, Universal and Warner Brothers again versus Warner Brothers for the most part. So let me recap Universal's slate for this year. So Kung Fu Panda 4, Despicable Me 4, Abigail, which is the vampire horror movie that just came out, Nosferatu.
Oh my god, imagine watching the Minions and then Abigail, just like, it's funny.
Listen, someone looked at a spreadsheet and they were like, oh, this is tagged with vampire movie in the horror genre, let's go, like, let's expand our slate. The other horror movie for Universal is Speak No Evil. Then we have, of course, so Universal, Raven, Monkey Man. And then we have the
Everyone,
Fall Guy.
please go see Monkey Man. It is such a astoundingly well-made movie for a first-time director. If you find the lore a bit complicated, I don't know what to tell you. Just nut up. Dave Patel said ACAB. Dave Patel said land back. Dave Patel said trans rights. Like,
he really did. Really impressed with Dave. Then we have The Fall Guy for Universal, which is Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt's rom-com, which I'm definitely...
Can I say, I think this was a script error? Like, this was like an error from the USPS. I think the script was meant for Ryan Reynolds.
It's a Reynolds kind of role, but I'm very happy that Gosling is in it. Then we have Twisters, the remake of the 96. Not remake, I think it's a sequel because it's plural. Twisters. And we have Gladiator 2, which is a co-production with Paramount, but it is also with Universal. So
it's a Ridley Scott movie. Us millennials will be too busy with our phones to go see this, so...
Paul Mescal, man. Wicked Part 1, also part of the Universal slate. And something I'm really excited about is the bike riders. Jodie Comer, Tom Hardy, Austin Butler just excelled at the festival season last year. So it's taken a while to get to come out. But
the trailer is full of mumbling. And Wicked is going to make a shit ton of money in Thanksgiving. It's a family-friendly movie based on recognizable IP. Everybody's going to be glued to the promotion of this fucking movie because of Ariana Grande and her messy love life.
It's going to be great. For Warner Brothers, we'll have not as big of a slate, but some incredibly big names. Joker, Folie à Deux, Dune 2 that just came out, Beetlejuice, which is not Beetlejuice 2, it's Beetlejuice. Good for them. Then we have M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, so that's their horror representation. And I believe his daughter, her name is Ishana Shyamalan.
Yay!
She's
have South Asian Nepo babies now.
She's 20 years old at like NYU or somewhere, and she's making a horror movie starring Dakota Fanning called Watchers.
Clearly Shyamalan wrote this when he watched the Eras movie. Like, you can see his mind go there. He's like, he's watching the concert and he's like, what if there's a crazed killer in here? So love that.
I'm very happy for Josh Hartnett to be back. The horror slate this year is really incredibly big, and like really big names involved in horror, really like big titles coming out. So Immaculate just came out, First Omen just came out. I put Inside Out 2 in horror. That's not
Is this a joke, or do you really feel like looking at your feelings is a horror? I mean, I get it. I thought it was a funny joke.
No, it's guilt and shame were going to be included as characters in Inside Out 2, and they took it out because they deemed to be pretty horrifying for kids.
What pussies. Okay.
Imaginary comes out soon as well. I saw the TV Glow, which is a production from Emma Stone and her husband Dave McCary.
Oh yes, if you guys haven't seen We're All Going to the World's Fair, which is a previous outing of this director, Jane Schoenberg, please see it. It's so good.
Yeah. Looks great. Long Legs, which I'm super excited about, starring Nicolas Cage. Maxine comes out and looks like there's ties to the Bates Motel. Psycho Universe, Strangers, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, which are continuation of the 2008 Strangers. Oh, there's a vampire situation happening. Nosferatu, Sunrise, Salem's Lot, Abigail. Guys, horror.
I mean, vampires have always been awesome and sexy and cool. So,
true.
Yeah. And I'm not surprised there. I don't think vampires are a trend. It's like, you know, Bram Stoker is like, bitch, I made that a trend. What do you got? Yeah.
I'm gonna quickly go through I know we're running long on my section, but I'm gonna quickly go through the other trends I'm seeing, other things that I expect in 2024. Sequels. There's so many sequels this year. Like that we always see, but I feel like the big titles that we see this year, the big like predictions to reach the billions, reach the high millions, all sequels, you know. Venom 3, I haven't mentioned, comes out this year as well. Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, Ballerina, John Wick Universe Ballerina, and then Quiet Place Day 1, which is the sequel to the Quiet Place universe.
It's a prequel, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is a prequel.
Yeah.
In the same universe.
Inside Out 2, Deadpool 3, Gladiator 2, and Beetlejuice 2. I'm like, things cannot die. Like, nothing can be left alone. This is so sad on one level to just be like...
I also saw like some hot girl, the trend of hot girls turning producers / directors. Zoe Kravitz has a movie coming out. She directed Blink Twice.
It was supposed to be called Pussy Island, and it didn't get called that. What's up with that, Zoe?
And then we saw Zendaya producing Challengers. Good for her. Support our girl Z. Molly Gordon is making a movie, Theater Camp. Elizabeth Banks, well, she did Cocaine Bear last year, so wanted to shout that out. Again, Eva Longoria also made Flamin' Hot last year, so there is a trend of like women realizing Hollywood doesn't give two shits about them and just like taking control.
Yeah, having to literally make their own production company so that they can get stuff made. Yeah.
Margot Robbie, a big one. I'm gonna end my 2024 predictions there and hand over the mic to you, Raven.
I mean, my honest prediction is that we're going to see so much more in terms of social media usage than people actually going to the theaters. This is an election year, and the idea of people watching something like escape their terrible existence may not necessarily involve going to the theaters, because that involves putting on pants. So I really think that they're going to be sitting at home watching TV, watching coverage, watching social media a lot. I'm really pissed that Warner Brothers looks like it's going to be the one that's making the most money in terms of like a studio overall. The Broadway adaptation has gotten a new generation kind of excited about Beetlejuice. So that's, yeah.
I did see the early previews for Beetlejuice are like landing pretty well with the audiences.
Given that there has been sort of pumping of the brakes from these massive studios, not putting out like $500 million movies. So this gives a chance for some of the smaller movies to come through. Like, I'm so excited that people are like going to watch Challengers. I mean, it's not exactly the type of movie that would have gotten people excited to go to a theater, but now you're seeing Challengers in IMAX. I think that's wild. And a good thing. I'm not complaining. Like, keep it that way.
I don't think people realize how crazy it is for people to go to see Challengers in IMAX multiple times. It is not an IMAX movie, but the fact that people are hungry for movies in the theater and like feeling something, and of course like the star power of these 3 sexy people in the movie, you know?
Yeah. I'm not saying that this is a tiny movie. It's distributed by Warner Brothers internationally and Amazon MGM in the US. So, and I think it's also like a Sony production. So this is not like a tiny movie, but it's still, you know, it's got a budget of like under 60 million. I think it was like 55 million dollars, and it's like a tiny sports movie. And I was just upset to see that Anyone But You didn't do well enough for more studios to make an investment in rom-coms. So I don't think we'll be seeing any of those. Yeah. So,
you know what I was disappointed in? The idea of You with Anne Hathaway, where she's dating Harry Styles, basically. Listen, it's bad plot, but this is the exact kind of movie that I would have loved to see in the theater.
The book that it is based on is written by an actress who was in the cast of 50 Shades of Grey.
Makes perfect sense.
Everything comes back to Twilight is all I'm saying. So
it's Stephenie Meyer's world and we're just living in it. Yeah, along with the box office trends, the trends we're going to see in the movies that we've recapped, it'll be interesting to see how streaming fares alongside these things that happen on the big screen. The shorter release windows that are happening for movies coming from the theaters to your house on streaming networks. So I saw Dune, I believe, came out after its release date to VOD in 5 weeks. That's really short, isn't it? Like,
that's why Christopher Nolan went to Universal. That's what I'm saying.
So it'll be interesting to see, again, with like all the bundling that's happening and like these streaming companies struggling to, you know, turn a profit. I would be interested to like keep an eye on that, as well as like, you know, these big studios make some moves. I think we covered everything though.
We sure did. We have covered everybody except for, of course, Netflix, who's one of the only streaming services that isn't associated with a legacy studio out there. It's become its own studio. So I think when you're talking about streaming that way, that's the one that I'm curious to see, because
they have no interest in theatrical anymore. They've definitely cut ties with anything theatrical.
But I'm definitely watching Madam Web when it eventually comes to Netflix.
So excited.
I'm doing a Morbius Madam Web back-to-back double feature, baby. Let's go.
What a time. Can I come over?
Absolutely. Take the red eye and come on over.
Get the snacks and the substances ready, you know what I mean? Prepare ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Next time, speaking of streaming, we're doing an industry tech roundup. Freemium streaming. What's streaming for free?
Oh, we're taking the Broke Bitch Express to Freetown. You know what I'm saying? Well, if love is not having to share a password, you know what? I want a polycule now. Where are my challengers at?
All right, that's it for today, babies. See you next time. Bye, full screeners.
Bye. Don't forget to file your taxes or the IRS will come for you because you're not David Zaslav. Bye.
Bye.